Gentlemen, welcome to the shop. Today on the healing bench, the aforementioned Stanley number 4 Type 20 approximately mid-1960s model hand plane. This was rescued from an antique shop, about 15 bucks Canadian pesos, and it's in really great shape compared to the last one of these. This poor bastard here. Which is now in great working condition. So, we figured it out. We're going to do another one. But we're going to start from less of a hole of despair on this one. Two biggest issues. There's a little nick in the blade here. Not bad though, but it just needs to be taken care of. And the tote at the rear here is super duper loose, and that needs to be dealt with. Also, there's paint stains or whatever crap on the body here, and we'll do the old ye olde sandpaper rejuvenation on the surfaces. First, let's take it apart and have a look at this tote wiggle. Band name? Tote wiggle? Not sure. So there we go. A little bit of, she's losing her chrome plate there on that little springboard. Now that's an interesting bit. I was mentioning at some point this is supposedly a Type 20 hand plane, which would be sort of a mid or late 1960s. And they talk about the quality going downhill in them. Collectors don't want these because they're the end of the good ones, etc., etc. This is one of those interesting bits that I've noticed. It's here on the lever cap. It's sort of this cam lever thing that holds everything on. You can see it's got this little plate so that the lever parts don't grind up against the iron assembly to do this motion. They have a little insulation plate here. Now on my 1940s model, same deal. It has the little plate, little spring steel plate in here. But on this 1970s or 80s plane, you can see they've used the same casting, and the same casting, the casting even has the recess for the spring plate, but they just didn't bother. We could save 43 cents per unit in labor and materials by not putting that spring plate in, and it'll still work. And you know what? It does still work. However, it grinds against the plane assembly there as this thing locks and unlocks. Grind, 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 grind. So, grinding like that is great in a metal shop or a fancy club or whatever, but you don't really want it metal on metal in a hand tool like that. So that makes sense, why this would be in a slightly higher regard than this one. C'est la vie. So this is another difference here. It's got this stamped steel little lateral adjustment arm. The old 1940s, the older ones have a plate that has like a little steel bump mortised through to make this, or mortise and tenon through, and stamped in instead of having this one bent piece. But what we're here for right now is to look at this tote. And that's, I don't want to break something by trying to tighten that anymore. As tight as it wants to get. So, let's haul that out. I've not had this apart yet. So we may all learn something, or I might break something. So if you can't make it more tight, you've bottomed something out, clearly. We still have brass fasteners here instead of steel. Still have a nice friendly old wooden tote. So, this might, what I'm going to do first, I'm going to try just making sure that's tightened in its spot. I might give this just the tiniest little bit of loving. A little lube never hurt. So yeah, make sure that rod is tightened in enough. Then we'll try the screw again just to see maybe that wasn't Maybe that wasn't seated well enough or something. Let's find out. So that's pretty tight. Oh boy, that's close. Much better, but I don't want to stress it. So I think what we'll do is make some more of these delightful noises for the viewer at home. Everything looks okay, like the threads look alright. Whatever. You can see there's another difference right there for you. In the cost savings, they've put in a little locating, they've cast in a locating pin and drilled a little hidey hole there to hold this way, you know, so it doesn't spin around in place. But on the older models, they had another screw, another brass screw, to keep that twisting motion from getting away. So there's lots of these subtle little differences. Clearly, they've started their cost savings at this point, but legend has it that they're not, you know, they haven't gone right off the deep end yet. So I think what we'll do with this is we'll start putting our bits over here. Might as well take her all apart. Oh, this is beautiful. Nothing's rusted together. Yep. Beautiful. Look at that. Like even the frog only has a little bit of rust. Even these seating surfaces here, not bad. Adjuster is pretty smooth, but we'll back it off and lube it up a little. Another difference here, in the older models, this yoke was a cast piece. And this one you can see that it's like two little stamped steel pieces. But it's still metal, and this is still a big beautiful brass adjustment knob, which is really nice because it has a momentum when you fling it with your finger, and it has a nice feel. It's big and grippy. Perfect. Like, this is all lovely. Might as well take the front one off too. Oh yeah. Yeah, so that's not bad. Like, this would be, that knob would probably, yeah, I think that knob would basically exchange with any of these other ones. Yeah, more or less. Slightly different profile, but some of this stuff has changed a bunch and some of it not too much, right? So there you go. There's a Type number 20 Stanley Bailey number 4 hand plane from the 1960s. And thanks for tuning in. Next time we'll make a little bit of progress with it. Cheers.